Greetings, everybody. This is Harmony speaking, and today is 6/24/2020. I just want to make a quick video on the topic of fake news. It seems to be buzzing around a lot these days in the media. And for those of you who don't know, and for those of you who do, it's probably a recap. But just to let you know, I used to work 10 people below the President of the United States of America. And one of the first things I did every morning was to read the CIA classified worldwide intelligence report. People often wonder, they say, you really work 10 people below the president. So here we go. We have the President of the United States, the Secretary of Defense, Chief of Naval Operations, the Commander of Naval Air Forces, the Commander of Naval Air Forces Pacific Fleet, and then we have the Commander Airborne Early Warning Wing. This is the command that I belong to. And then we have the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Airborne Early Warning Wing. We call this AEW. And then you have the Administration Officer of AEW, the Chief Petty Officer of AEW, and then the Petty Officer of AEW. So I was the Petty Officer of the Airborne Early Warning Wing. So that's why I had access to all kinds of crazy classified information. And one of the things that just blew my mind away is I'm sitting here reading the, classified CIA report about what's really going on in the world, and and these are rather earth-shattering events happening in the world, and no one knows about them. I mean, I'm talking about wars being fought, people being killed. We had a military installation in another country that got completely taken over, sent over 500 people to the hospitals. Over 300 died. Less than 20 officers died, and nobody heard a word about this. And I'm just, day after day after day, I'm reading all this stuff that's going on in the world, and no one knows about it. And my brother just happened to be a news reporter for a major newspaper in our country. And he's at my family dinner one night, and I said to my brother, I was like, "How come, your paper and others are not reporting the truth of what's going on in the world? You guys got to know what's going on." And he said, "Well, it's kind of like this. This may be going back in time for people, but back in, if you the newspaper, if you get the newspaper and the Sunday paper." He said to me, when you get the Sunday paper and when you look at the ads, what are they mostly of? And I said, car dealership ads. He goes, that's right. Have you ever read a bad article about a car dealership? I'm like, well, I've seen a TV show. No, that's a TV show. Have you ever read a bad article? I'm like, no. He goes, because you never will, because they're the major contributors to the newspaper. They pay for advertising. And if the newspaper wants to continue to get their money for advertising to keep the paper running, they're not going to report anything bad about a dealership. And he said the same way is true about what's going on in the world. He told me that the military controls all the information that is disseminated to the news outlets, radio, news, TV, newspaper, magazines, etc. It's all controlled by one source through the military. And the military, he told me, tells a story and gives like the main outline of the story, and then the main outline is given to the different news outlets, and they are told this is a storyline. You can put your own spin to it, so it doesn't look like, everybody has a cookie cutter thing. So you're allowed to put a little spin to it, but you better stick to the storyline. And if you don't, he said, you don't get any more information. So you take what the military gives you, you report it exactly the way the military wants you to report it, and then you will get the next story. And that's how the game is played. And he said that's why you never know. The newspapers don't report the truth of what's going on in the world. They report it the way the military wants to spin it. And so this is where we get the phrase fake news. What I can tell you is that back in the 90s is when I actually helped create the Airborne Early Warning Wing. It was one of the things I did. And I just couldn't believe, the majority of the stuff in these classified reports wasn't even being reported, but the things that were just too outrageous, too outlandish, the things they couldn't keep under wraps, the things that the military, had to say something about, like if a bomb gets blows up and kills a whole bunch of people, you kind of gonna have to let people know about that. So the military, and I'm reading the classified report. I know the truth, and then I listen to the news report, and it's always it was like 90. I don't know, 95% lies with the 5% truth. And the 5% truth was so distorted by the 95%, I might as well just call the whole thing a complete lie and fake news. And I'm watching the news night after night, just lies and lies and lies. And I'm like, I'm like, these are just all lies. I'm holding in my hand the CIA classified. I have top secret documents. I'm holding in my hand. I know what's really going on in the world, and I'm watching the news tell a complete lie, just a complete lie. You know, and Trump being the president is aware of this, and that's why he yells out fake news. And of course, we won't get into Trump, but the truth is, there's a lot of fake news. Everything is skewed. Um, there is an agenda, and it's unfortunate. It's basically because the truth is held under secrecy, and if you tell the truth, you're going to go to prison for breaking your secrecy oath and divulging classified information. But I've read lots of things that were classified that were direct violations of not only the United States Constitution, not only city, state, federal laws, and it also violated UN sanctions. I'm reading how laws are being broken from the very bottom all the way up to the UN worldwide level. Total outrageous laws are being broken, and nobody's doing anything about it because it's classified. You can't say anything about it. And it just, oh my gosh, drove me nuts, drove me nuts. So I actually stopped reading the news, watching the news back in 1995 is when I finally stopped watching the news because it's just all lies. I'm telling you, it's all lies. I didn't hear any truth in the news. There's like no, like I said, there might be that 5%, but it was so distorted. There's no way for you to get the truth. So the truth on just a standard distribution president going down on the 10th on the totem pole, that information is locked tight, and you can't find out about that stuff, which is just would if the people knew the truth of just secret stuff, it probably people would be running out in the streets yelling "Chicken Little," the sky's falling, going cuckoo crazy. And then you want to get into your black projects, and you want to get into your Q security. There's a, technically there's nothing above top secret, so they have what's called compartmentalized information. There's Q level, this level, different level accesses, and I mean you get into that stuff, and it's just so far out there. You try to tell the truth to somebody, and they just don't believe you. You're ridiculed. So it is just so dang hard to get to the truth these days, people. And this coronavirus thing going around, it's so hard to get down to the truth. It's unfortunate so many people are dying. Very, very unfortunate. But not to diminish those deaths, but compared to how many people die in car accidents every year, I think like 475,000 people have died worldwide, and the deaths every year worldwide is around 560,000. So a lot more people die in just car accidents, and then you get into cancer and other deaths, and it just far outnumbers the coronavirus. I don't want to diminish those deaths, but the truth is that there's agenda here. Numbers are being blown out of proportion. You've probably heard the reports by many doctors saying that they're told that if somebody dies of pneumonia, but they happen to have the coronavirus, just, don't test them. Just, they died of pneumonia, just stamp coronavirus on the death certificate. You may have heard a little while ago, Italy had to reconsider all their death certificates because they realized that people were not dying of the coronavirus. They're just dying from their normal complications. People get old and they have diseases and they die of things. So then, we've had many experts and medical doctors and people on the front lines reporting how they are told to report the deaths wrong. So, I mean, those numbers are skewed, and then, everybody's talking about this big peak. Well, we're testing more, so of course you're gonna have more coronavirus cases, and I don't know, people. It's just so hard to get down to the bottom and the truth of this. And unfortunately, I'm not in the know about the truth to this virus or how it was created or what's going on and whatnot. But there's lots of theories out there, and I'm sure you've heard many of them, so I'm not going to speculate on those. But I just wanted to comment on what I do know about. You know, like I said, I worked, 10 people below the president. Every day I read the CIA classified worldwide intelligence report, and I know that majority of the stuff you to this day, I mean, this goes back to the 90s, and to this day, you do not know, 99% of the stuff that I knew that's going on in the world, and that did happen. I mean, 99%, no joke, 99% is hidden from you to this day, and we are in 2020, and it's still hidden, and it will remain hidden, and the lies that were told. Ugh. Anyway, I think I'm getting on a rant. I better stop here. So, till next time, everybody, I hope you're doing all well out there. God bless, peace, and be well.